computer. So hello.
Okay, hello. My name is Dr. Barbara LaRocca, and this is
Suzanne Dupuis.
all right. And since we are here to dialogue with each other, and then perhaps you will energetically, join in or have questions later, that's okay. I was going to start talking a little bit about the fact that we have Mercury retrograde right now. And I used to think, in some ways, as a scientist, I thought that things like that did not have an effect. I have discovered since then that even really large, big financial institutions do not do certain things during Mercury retrograde. That doesn't mean that we have to not do things. It does mean that whatever you're going to do will have to include the concept that communications can go in a circle. And it's not bad, it's not wrong, it is what it is. I also want to energetically introduce the concept that you can in your own coach state have a little provision for things being a little chaotic, and it's going to help your coach state too. Is one of the things we don't talk enough about is maintaining the coach and going back to the coach frequently during the day. With Mercury retrograde, it's bound to throw you, I don't know, every day, but some of the time it'll just throw you. In that case, one of the things we get to learn is how to do coach state when there's not always a coherent step-by-step forward movement. I cite one of the examples of, I'm living in Brazil right now, and I was going to get my driver's license. Well, it can be really mixed up here. And I realized we were going to pick it up during Mercury retrograde. I literally thought of me walking backwards into the building. I haven't walked backwards for at least a couple feet. And then I said, please let this be easy, because things here aren't easy and things like that can go haywire. Maybe it wasn't Mercury retrograde, or I didn't overcome it. I don't care. I like the fact that I was able to go pick the license up immediately and it was easy. Same thing this week. We've had Mercury retrograde now for several days. And I needed to pick up a friend's license, which is interesting. And he said, oh, go this day. It's the best day. I went, And I waited until my inner coach state and my inner sense of well-being said, go now. Because there's long lines sometimes in various offices here, and people don't like to socially distance, and a lot of other things that you don't want, but long lines. And I walked in, nobody in line. Now, I will say that the wind was so strange that it pulled a paper out of my binder and threw it under another door. I had to go back for that paper because, of course, the person wasn't there. But I said, I got the license. I'm going to take the win and go with it. That was my drum saying yes.
Yeah. I love when they get in the conversation.
They like to talk. And I've been doing this drumming for, oh my word, lots and lots of years, more than 20, and have had some really amazing drums. And I've got my friend here.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, and she's a Mylar, which means the humidity, which is now extreme here, is not messing with it.
Mm.
And so I wanted to do a small guided thing with everybody to orient to working with Mercury. And if you fight Mercury, Mercury will fight back.
Mm.
If you try to talk kindly to Mercury to help you out. And it's like it's also the same as invoking coach state. You say, I want help. And when you do that, you get a feeling of that energy lining up. But remembering, while Mercury is retrograde, that lineup can be a little odd. Just go with it. And in terms of all of life, going with how life is going right now isn't a bad idea.
Mm. And I think that's the challenge for me, right? As you're talking about Mercury and I have had a love-hate relationship for years, because the Aries in me react a lot to this type of energy. So I like how you say we have to learn how to work with the energy differently, and at the same time a little bit allow. And I understand when you say, like, if it doesn't feel right now, I know, especially in Mercury retrograde, I really need to listen to that gut instinct that's telling me yes or no, and listen a lot more to the body than the head taking my decisions and understanding what needs to be done versus what wants to fluidly happen. So it's interesting. Yeah.
It's hard because straightforward movement is sometimes blocked. And I'm totally encouraging people to not worry about their old method of straightforward movement, because it might not happen. But if you wait and ask for help, and then just wait with the idea of, I'm not failing, I'm not doing anything wrong, it's okay, then a thought or a feeling will come to you, okay, now. And it's looking for how to go with the spots that have flow instead of going against the flow. That doesn't mean everything will happen backward or you won't get what you want, but you may need to double check on communications. If somebody doesn't understand what you're saying, explain it, don't get upset. If you don't understand what somebody's saying, ask them to say more to explain it. These are common sense things, but it's a great time to train in them.
Yeah. And I think for me, there's like two resources I often go to. It's patience and curiosity. Patience, because it seems that in Mercury retrograde, there's a lot less of it from either side of the communication. So if you step a little bit more in that patience, there's a possibility of exchange that is created. And curiosity in the sense that even if you do feel blocked, I think in a sense, part of me always knows that it's for the greater good. And the human part of me may be still frustrated about it. But it's to have that curiosity to know that if that is blocked normally, there should be other options there to still move forward. And that may bring something even better. But it's to learn how to flow in it. I'm still working around myself around this energy. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to come with your drumming and what kind of knowledge I can gain from that.
Well, I love the word curiosity, because that's what happens when I line up with my coach state. And I don't know if people use it this way. I line up with my coach state to be curious as to what it will do, because I don't know if, like if I'm sitting here going, oh, I'm not cleaning the house well enough. I found out that if I go to coach state and things are a little in the way of me cleaning for some reason, is that all of a sudden there's a creativity to how to sneak the housework in between clients. And how that will, and the coach state goes, it's sort of lined it up with such creative, yummy. I couldn't have thought that logically through. And that's the thing, where a lot of you are logical and intellectual, and that's cool. But it's not the part of your mind you will want to use as much right now.
No, especially in these shifting times, I think it's we have to learn how to work with the other minds a lot more.
Correct. And then also working with realms. And one of the things the drum brings in is other realms. This will not be the time where we teach you how to journey using the realms, and some of you already know. But it's a matter of letting the drum take you somewhere that is appropriate for you and safe. So we're asking for safety and appropriateness for you to meet with more resources at the moment. This isn't the be all and end all resources, but it's meant to have a big resource for this period of time, especially later when Suzanne talks more about the moon. There are fluxes and flows right now. We need to know how we're going to swim the fluxes and flows.
Yeah, it's to be having more options appear instead of blindly trying to figure out where they are, getting them to come to us, rather forcefully try to find a way through.
Well, I was thinking of talking about this later, but to bring it up is some of the work we were doing in CM recently felt like we were pushing, because it was a tad confusing and a tad crashy, and pushing when something isn't moving is not a good idea. And if somebody or yourself is crashing, it really requires a really reweaving the coach state right then and there, and making and finding its durability. Because if it's not durable for going through an experience, then, yes, you can go in and out of it. But conceptually, having the idea that you want to have enough there to refer back to, so that even chaos becomes part of the healing.
Yeah, it's to know when you're aligned and it's working, because you are opened and expansive rather than contracted and being in that crash state where no matter what will appear, you are so much protecting yourself that you can't connect with it anyways.
Exactly. And a lot of people here are empaths. So when I'm working with somebody empathetically, I pick up on their crash. I have a special thing. I am picking up on their crash. I have a little alarm system. And when that alarm goes off, it's run that coach state really strong, and don't worry about what's going on, because at that moment, unless you're in coach, you can't help your coachee.
Yeah, and I think I have that program automatically as well. It's like when I feel it, it for me, it happens quite intuitively, where I will feel the crash, and all of a sudden it's sort of like I lift myself up automatically. It's like the posture needs to be even more there to support whatever's going on the opposite side. And it's not denying what's going on in the other person, but it's to offer a resonance that is different than that crash state. Because oftentimes as empaths, what we can also do very intuitively without really working hard at it is, if we keep our coach state, it will be a mirror in which the other person can see the possibility of coming back faster as well. As much as we feel into it, we can feed into it as well.
Well, you're talking neurolinguistics as well, but on the energy level, which is pacing and leading. Yeah. If you are feeling somebody's crash, first you feel the crash, then you lead yourself, without saying anything, of course, at that moment back to coach, and then they have the other person then asks your mind. And, I always ask my coachee is able to follow that movement, like if I were mirroring somebody's movements or whatever it is I might do with NLP. In this case, it's mirroring the energy levels and shifting it. I even have friends that told me, do you need something in this area? I will send the energy message to you. It's quite powerful.
Yeah.
Yay, cool. Us.
So you ready to? I
got it. I'm on it. So get comfortable if you're listening to this, sitting or laying, and doesn't matter. And if you want to put an eye covering on, some people love to put eye coverings on, and just do what you can as you're there, breathing to relax. As you begin to travel, collect all that is safe, whoever, whatever provides safety for you. And all of you are going to Mercury for a moment, if it's safe and good for you. Travel, just be in awe of the universe and all its stars, and other planets, and maybe even other spaceships. Enjoy. And you now have directions to get there, and it's good. GPS to Mercury is quite good. And like anywhere you arrive, there's a kind of greeting party. And we're asking those to only be from the light. And they say, what would you like to know? And where do you want to travel within our being? And we announce, want to know more about how to use Mercury retrograde for our benefit. And one of the greeters smiles and says, you have a retrograde happening, huh? Come on in. And we're taken to a really interesting place. It's a village, it's a town. The guard says, okay, you have your passport? You really want to know about Mercury retrograde? That is your passport. Come on in. And each place in the town has different information. One building, really nice, shows you the beauty of Mercury retrograde. Almost a museum of all the most amazing things that happen during Mercury retrograde. Walk through and you enjoy it. Breathe in the goodness of all the good things that happen. And you move to the Department of Transportation. What's that about? How to move through Mercury retrograde. And now you see many working on this. And they say, but before you enter, go to this little room that's in front of everything you do. Little room, not that small, but it's a nice room. It's where you go into coach state. All your resources are coach. Yum. Then you enter a room. Very special room. And this one is the beginning of you being able to use the coach state in Mercury retrograde. So a new resource. Each of you now walk through your way in your country through technicalities, advertising, through making an arrangement to go out to dinner even. All these things. And each time somebody says, state, go into it. And then they're given resources to make plans in Mercury retrograde, which is different than direct. That's it. You take all the time in the world for your unconscious mind to walk through this area, gathering all the resources you need. gathering more resources than you even imagined. Look, there's another room that's near the exit. What's in there? Go in the other room. In the words integration, integrating a new resource, integrating a calmness during any chaos, integrating patience, curiosity, creativity, and openness to having something occur in a marvelous manner without you controlling it, and it's to your benefit. Integration is done, and you have a coach state now enhanced with all the resources. You will then depart this building. There's one more house. Wow, this is interesting. And this is about all the amazing ways you can get through Mercury retrograde that your own unconscious and your guides and anybody else that's with you will help to remember all the things that you see in this house, that you feel or you hear. There might be music to it. There might be visuals that will help you remember just the feeling of relaxing into this period of time. Done watching, hearing, and feeling, integrating into your coach state all that you know is your particular journey of lessons. You will be given a large bag of things that has all the stuff you would need to get through the next period of time, including issues regarding other things as well as Mercury retrograde. And whenever you need it, you can go to this bag, if it's a bag or a basket or a jar, open it and let the right resource come into your coach. Some of the things, of course, will stay in your coach. Specific lessons, go back and get them if you need them. Walk out of that room and everybody's cheering. See you, glad you came. Mercury loves you. You might say, what? Mercury loves me? Mercury's going backwards for your benefit. I don't know. Yeah, it will work. Because when you leave the village, you're going with blessings beyond your wildest imagination. You smile and go, And one of the nice people there, or whatever they are, says, just you wait and see. Doesn't mean you have to believe. We're still going to be sending you good things. Still supporting. Heart and soul feeling the joy. And your coach state being even stronger. Bye, says everyone. Now you just want to stay. It was so much fun. But it's time. And you leave and you get to the spaceship. That's what I see it as, but maybe you see it different. Doesn't matter. Back to your body. Being called back to your body. Like all the way back home. Take a moment, take a nice breath. Feel your coach state. Some of this will take more effect later. And Mercury will be there to help you. And remember that if anyone, are you into angels, Gabriel Archangel is a special friend of Mercury. So if you have trouble thinking of Mercury, the planet, think of the angel. And if you have trouble with that, think of somebody else that speaks well. And so it is.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Amazing.
Thank you.
It was interesting for me to feel how, in one way, I could feel the tension of trying to do things backwards, and at the same time feel things, how doing things are just doing things differently instead of backwards. So there was a conversation within me anyways, so I'm curious to see what it's going to do for other people. But that was interesting.
I just let myself have the concept that I may have to back into a solution instead of, and that it's still the same as what you said. It just could be a different way of getting to a solution than normal.
Yeah.
Are you ready to jump into the moon?
Yeah, I'm just going to get back to the here and now first.
And anybody listening could take a break and come back in a little while to do the moon if you like.
Yeah, that would be like, sometimes you need time to integrate between these vibrations. Because yeah, I think we're not working with the same, we were outside in the galaxy, now we're coming back to our Earth, our everyday vibration. And the moon doesn't play the same role as Mercury either, right? The moon is always present in our lives. And a lot of people don't understand it. A little bit like you were saying, like for the longest time, I was having all kinds of emotions and all kind of momentum where sometimes I could move forward and I was like really present, and I was, and other times I was just like, even if I wanted to, it was a good idea, but my body was just like, nope, not today. And until I figured out, I started to just follow the cycle and just see how that was having an influence on my system and on when was the right time to do the right things. And the minute I started to test out theories and started to understand, well, in this, when the moon is at its fullest, like it is right now, I have a lot more momentum, but it's even bigger and it's even more supported if I take the time to see what is being done. And then if I'm trying to get in that momentum in the new moon energy, which is a darker moon, it's a moon where you're more introspective, you're more going through one cycle to another. So it's sort of like a transition period. So it's hard to be in that transition period and trying to build momentum. It's not, it's two different states of being. So understanding how that moon plays a part in our everyday life, I think becomes a very interesting conversation. So with the full moon, some people don't sleep right, just some people don't, they push through things, and it should be easier than that. So if we pay attention to how we are reacting to the cycle and use it to our benefit, it becomes interesting. So that's how I see the new moon. Now, this full moon is the Wolf Moon, which is interesting because the wolf is both a lonely wolf and a pack wolf. It's both the lookout point wolf that can see everything in the valley, and the wolf that's in the valley looking for the next prey or looking for the next path or looking for, so much more in the smells and the feels and the hears. So having that 2-point conversation becomes really interesting for this moon. So there may be times when I'll be drumming that you may want to have a more lookout point view, and that's okay. And other times you might feel like going a little bit closer to whatever is that resistance that you may feel, or the goal you may want to be looking at. The full moon offers another perspective. It offers not only to see where you're heading, but what's going on around it. And oftentimes what's interesting is if you look at it properly during the full moon, you may find that there's another path that can go around whatever is blocking or whatever feels like resistance to you, that may surprise you. The other outcome is you may realize that the goal that you had is more or less the right one. So you may get to tweak your goal under the full moon. So before going full on in, it's like the right time to just dial in to the proper energy, to the proper path, to the proper goal, to the proper outcome that you're wishing to explore. So that's how I introduce the moon energy, and hopefully, and in CM, the conversation becomes interesting because as we go through crash and through coaching, we're always trying to find a different path that's going to be easier, that's going to be lighter, that's going to be much more faster to go through, right? So again, curiosity and patience are key, whatever journey we take, and the moon energy is not an energy that requires to go really like deep journeying. It's really an energy that's lighter, that just offers another perspective, right? It's just another song. It's another rhythm. It's another way of feeling into it rather than thinking into it. I know my drum has a lot of resonance, so I'll just pop on the mic. I don't know how that's going to go. Can you still hear me? Cool. All right. Because it does filter out a lot of the vibes. So my drum is a bear drum. And it's one that is not very big. So you'll see that the sound is a lot lighter than most. And it is really, because we are in winter here and we've been heating a lot, it is rather tight. So the vibes are going to be interesting. So I'm going to welcome you to just like take a few deep breaths and just sit into it. I'll start with the heartbeat of the bear, and we'll move slowly to the beat of the moon. So look at the path before you, the one you're already traveling on, the one that you would want lighter, easier, much more fun. And just walk into it. Feel how it feels. Looking around, with curiosity to see what else exists. What else could be? What else already is? Ask Mother Moon to help you see differently, to see further, to see closer, and to see new options, new solutions, new resources. Feel the wolf pack in which you are a member, a contributor. Feel them walk with you. You may be able to see through their eyes instead of yours. You may be able to see what they see differently. You may see from the hilltops. You may see from the river. You may see from the valley. You may see from the outcrops. Ask to see where it may be easier. Where is that resistance? Don't look, feel into it. Where is that resistance? Where is it that you feel less, not more? And see how the river would go around it. See how the path can appear to bring you in another direction, and yet still move you forward. Feel how you can become something different that you already are, but you could be more of. And slowly walk away from the pack. Explore by yourself. See how differently you're moving. See how your goal, your objective, your unique magic is calling you in your direction. See how powerful you feel as you walk in that direction. Feel that moon, ever present, ever powerful. You're not alone. You're never alone. You can call in whoever you feel appropriate to accompany you on this path so that it's more fun, more easy, and much more fluid, much lighter. The world does not weigh on your shoulder anymore. It is under your feet. And you are guided by it. Moving slowly in your direction. Gaining momentum as you walk. Gaining confidence as you walk. And gaining perspective and knowledge as you walk. Feel that that resistance slowly just filter through and disappear. Those attachments all of a sudden just loosen up and fall to the ground. The air is all around you. The light of the moon surrounds you. You are lifted up, moving forward, moving sideways, moving however feels right. And as you come to the top of the valley, you can just see everything in front of you. All those possibilities, all those options. You know in your gut which direction is going to be easier and is going to be lighter and is going to give you what you need, what you want, what you deserve. Take that knowledge. Thank all the guides that came to help. Thank the river, thank the land, and thank Mother Moon for this beautiful, marvelous journey. And when you're ready, come back to yourself. So hopefully you got a little bit of a treat in there for you. And just so take some time. Sometimes you may not have the words, you may not know exactly what you felt or what you saw, or you got glimpses of stuff. Just let that filter through. For some, writing it down is going to make more sense. For others, just taking time and just sitting down because you've worked through different vibrations that you hadn't worked with before. So this becomes interesting to just start flowing into there and feeling what's different. And, you know, the moon hasn't had its crest. Yes, right. It hasn't been at the top of the full moon. It's going to happen tonight. So sometimes leaving a 24, 48 hour period to just let that seep in and feel what's different. And sometimes you may not know what's different, but you will wake up tomorrow different. Just simply, just like that, like magic wand, right? So take time tomorrow to just, or even tonight before going to bed, like what's now my goal, right? You may have had an outcome in mind. If you sit with it now, what is it? What is now true for today? What is true for tomorrow? And what is true for this cycle? It's good to have a long time goal, right? But I often work with the cycles. So you have another 2 weeks of moon energy from this full moon to the next new moon. And that's the outcome you really want to be feeling into. What can I be creating in the next 2 weeks with this energy? What's the real outcome in the now, right? And as we were talking about impasse for Mercury, I think it's the same thing for the moon. We have, as impasse, a lot of information coming in all the time. And so we think big, right? It's always big picture when we get this information. The moon really requires you to step in your energy and go get what you need to create that outcome. So we're not, again, it's like, yes, you can be on the top of the mountain having this amazing viewpoint. But how do you get back to your path, 2 feet on the ground for the next like 12 to 14 days to end this cycle in a bang and harvest as much as you can from this energy?
Wow, it's fantastic. And it reminded me of all the things that, what my goals were, and any goals that you're struggling with, I kind of let them and ended up looking at something that I did in the past being a goal, meaning opening to, not sure how things happen to me sometimes, is letting them. And in that letting, all these experiences where I didn't do anything. And I was looking more of a career shift or different things that enhanced what I was up to. And it's like, wow, there was like 4 or 5 really strong experiences that came back. And I want to do that. That goal was like, that feels nice.
Well, I always say often the surprises of life are when things shift. So, and if you come to work with the energy of the moon often enough, what you're calling in without realizing, and it doesn't need to be more complicated than what we just did, right? But what that creates is the opportunity for the universe to send new resources your way that may just shift the entire conversation. And instead of going level 1 of your outcomes and dreams, you may already be working on level 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4 is going to be like snap, done.
Right.
So it's always surprising. And for me, I think that's where I go often. It's like, well, my goal was to do this because that would allow me to eventually go to this. And by doing the moon energy, all of a sudden I'm working with the ultimate goal, not just the short time goal. And so that's when the surprises get really tasty. Yeah, cool.
And it was reminding me of a different way to do, other than what you're saying, is I sometimes won't have a goal and I'll keep going, I need a goal, I need a goal, I need a goal. And in my case, the thing that's always worked better is sort of looking at a feeling I'd like to have instead of a goal. I mean, I even chose, the last time I got a car, I was giving up my Toyota. Old Toyota, was really broken down thing. And I wanted something really worthy of my energy. And I didn't know what to do, but instead I looked at the energy. What did I want to feel in the other car? I wanted to feel like it was home and a glove and a well-being. And that's what I found. Car that I got in the end was like a glove, and it was well-being. And it was one of the only sports looking cars that was rated not a sports car. So
I love it. And I do the same, right? I've been doing it for years. I don't, even my weekly goals is really, how do I want to feel by the end of the week? That's how I really do my goals. And the agenda I'm working on, I'm working on an agenda personal journal. I don't know how to call it, because for me, it's much more on how I want to feel and what's going on and how can I work through it and with it to create what I want, versus logical checklists that, yeah, I need to do this, and I want to take out the need. Right? It's more like, what do I want to be? Who do I want to be by the end of the week? And how do I want to feel into it? And doing the right things that's going to bring that feeling into my life. And that's a different conversation. That's an entirely different conversation. But it allows for a conversation with the universe. If, like, what I found is when you have a checklist, it's really, I am doing. It's really, there's not much room for other people to get involved. But when you go, like, I want to feel like this by the end of the week, well, you have to sort of like call in whatever can help contribute to that feeling. It's less I'm doing and more this is coming to me. Your mic is off, dear. I didn't hear you.
I said good, and thank you, Suzanne. That was amazing. So thank you very much.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see how this conversation is going to change a little bit our CM and how we're going to be going through the conversation. I know for me, it allows flexibility for both for my coach state and for my crash state. Because as you go through the resistance of the full moon, it's a little bit like touching the edge of that crash state, right? So it's a conversation, it's a dance, and asking what's next, or what's possible now, or why is this presenting itself? Because it doesn't present itself if it doesn't have answers, or if it doesn't have golden nuggets of either resources or knowledge. That's how I see it.
And it does line up in the next couple of weeks with Mercury retrograde. So we've got a double do, which is you are going to be able to see how you operate in something where you're sort of skirting the edges sometimes of crash, and finding new ways to get back to coach.
Mm. And I like how you started, like with Mercury retrograde. It's like, how can you step backwards into it? But how does that allow for more space for something new to appear, for something new to actually just take its proper place? Because oftentimes we've just like taken away that space of creativity to other parts of ourselves, or to other spirits that could be contributing.
Right. Okay.
Nice. So thank you for this conversation. I've quite enjoyed it.
Thank you. And anybody listening, if questions are coming up, address it to either Suzanne or I, and we'll like just kind of go over whatever it is you thought about it. And thank you.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it'll help other people than just the two of us, because that was our first intention, was to say, well, we want to offer it to each other, but we know that this information, these vibrations can help other people too through the CM. If we're being a little bit, how can I say, ruffled through this period of creative mind, then I'm pretty certain that other colleagues are too. So if our resources could be resources for other people, then I feel blessed to be able to share it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. And I guess
Oh, yeah.
we see each other later. Bye.